Stirling, how do you do your research? Do you go and talk to fire people? Do you go to get books? I mean, how did you do your research in that picture?
First, I read everything that I can put my hands on that's been published, because it's very pointless to interview someone about his specialty unless you're highly informed. Otherwise, what questions can you ask him?
That's right.
This is what makes you so good, if I may compliment you. You know your field. So when you talk to people in our industry, you're asking them questions which are relevant, which they can respond to. If you asked, what's motion picture, for instance, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, it would be similarly if I were to go to a fire chief and say, tell me about fire. The guy's going to kick me right out of the street. But if I say to him, how many buildings in this area do not have central alarm systems hooked into your downtown thing? How many are not connected with sprinkler systems? How many are really in violation of the city statutes? He said, hey, this guy's been reading, I better talk to him. So before I do anything, I do all my homework. Now I go in and I ask questions that I can't find in books about what it's like right now. And then I dig into the personalities of the people who are in that work to try to find out how they feel about a lot of things, not just their work, but about life in general. And then I go to buildings. In the case of Towering Inferno, I went through at least 30 high-rise buildings and looked at a lot of things. There are elevator systems, there are generator systems, the backstage of the building. Mm-hmm. And what happens after a while, you begin to get a feeling about the thing. Then you forget all that. Put it away, because you don't want that massive stuff to get in the way of the story. And then you write your story. And it's what you leave out, because you know it, that what makes what you put in effective. It's what Hemingway used to say. 7/8 of the story is below the words, below the surface. You never know it's there. It's the 1/8 that's up there, which is supported by what the writer knows, that makes that 1/8 valid and true. And it sounds a little mystic, but it really isn't. If I'm writing about a fire chief, how can I write about a fire chief unless I know some fire chiefs? I mean, you know, in order to get to their humanity, I have to first get past the vocational trappings. Because a lot of writers, when they write a fire chief, write what seems to be a fire chief. That isn't what a fire chief is like. Fire chief is like you and like me, the normal human being.
That's interesting.
But you got to work your way through the awe that you feel about a guy that's in charge of all these trucks and hoses and things. You got to get rid of all that. But to get rid of it as a writer, you have to first know it. So that's what the research does.